Our region's business is sponsored by PNC for the achiever in you.
There's been a lot of talk lately about STEAM. The idea is to add art to STEM education that ordinarily focuses on science, technology, engineering, and math. In fact, it's been an underpinning of the remaking learning phenomenon that's been sweeping our region. Well, now a homegrown nonprofit has taken the idea a step further, using art, gamification, and technology to teach entrepreneurship to children as young as 5 in some of our region's most distressed communities. Along the way, the organization has also coached regional artists towards successful, sustainable careers. And Michelle Barabbas is the founder and CEO of Art Resource Teaching Society. Welcome. Good to have you here.
Pleasure to be here, Bill. Thank you.
Yeah, so you were an artist yourself, right? That's how you went down this path to start this organization?
Indeed. I was originally a graphic and web designer, and I did fashion design for quite a few years.
Okay. And that led you into being what, a coach and consultant for other artists initially?
So initially, I came to Pittsburgh after having moved away for a year, and I decided that I needed to find an agent for my services to be able to promote my creative services, and I couldn't really find a great source for it, so I ended up creating a company that helped artists get their careers off the ground. I coached an initial 24 people, and they referred in hundreds, which was a little much for one person.
Sure.
But I ended up coaching 133 artists in 37 different professions over the last 7 years.
Oh my gosh, that's really cool. We hear there's a hotbed. I think the Pittsburgh Technology Council says there are 270,000 creatives, as they call them, living in our region. So we're really a hotbed for this kind of activity.
There's so many creative professionals out there that are just dying for the right work. So finding their industry and really being able to make it profitable for themselves and not having to work 2-3 jobs is a great resource.
So what led you from that then into developing a program that really goes into the schools and using art to teach entrepreneurship of all things?
So it was an interesting evolution. So we were holding artist and community improvement discussions every week with all of these artists that were from, my goodness, 7 different states, and we were talking about ways that we could improve the community and ways that artists could get their work out there. And at the same time, it was 2011 and art was being cut from schools, and so a lot of them had their heart was behind being able to put art back in schools, and we had to develop a program for it. So by the time 2012 came around, we had the program completely developed. We switched over to becoming a nonprofit focused on youth education, and our artists became many of our teachers, and that's why we use art as an engagement method.
Okay, so there's the natural synergy there. Really focusing on distressed communities around the region?
Absolutely. So the reason that we focus on economically struggling areas is because the gentrification brings in a whole bunch of new business opportunities for small business. So people that are living in these communities that were born there, their families have been there for generations, they now can open up small businesses and take advantage of all the new customers, be able to make their business districts flourish, not with just corporation type structured businesses.
Well, and I think I look at some of the successes around our region. In many communities, the artists seem to be the homesteaders. They're willing to go in there first, I guess maybe because the rents are low, but at the same time you have to be close to somebody who's going to want to buy your work. So it would seem to be the proximity between that distressed community and the market that becomes really critical to making this strategy work.
I think the low cost of the property has a lot to do with the starving artist image, and that has a lot to do with the fact that we don't teach how to promote yourself as an artist in school. They teach you how to be an artist, which is a fantastic skill, but how to make money with it is a completely different skill, and that would be a really great thing to be added into the schools. So
that makes a lot of sense. So you sort of tested out this teaching program in the school over the last couple of years. You're going to be rolling it out into other schools or school districts heading into the new year, or heading into the second half of the year?
Yes, we're actually in fundraising mode right now. We're raising enough for 5 schools, and we'll be granting out this program to 5 schools. So 5 schools will have the opportunity in full school assemblies to have every child create every material they would need to begin their first business.
Very good. And so you even get little kids to start thinking about, well, what are all the elements that go into starting a business, but you make it fun because you use art to help teach, right?
Absolutely, and then we take it from there and actually provide business grants for the kids to be able to start these companies, try them out, They go through an incubator, and they even get to run a pop-up storefront as well as their e-commerce website.
Really cool, really fun. Great thing. Got to start them young. We certainly need lots more entrepreneurship here in our region. Michelle Barabbas from the Art Resource Teaching Society.
Such a pleasure. Thank you, Bill.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll be back in a minute with a little dollars and cents. Stay with us.